When fall rolls around, students often feel the impending doom of essay deadlines in the senior year. When should they start? How should they brainstorm? What should they say? In this training, we'll explore 3 major components of admissions essay writing: timeline, narrative, and some specifics. All skills take practice, so the same is true with respect to admissions essays. They're very different from the essays that students are used to writing in English classes, and you don't want to wait until the week before or the night before, you know who you are, to begin. Here are some practical steps to help you manage your pre-writing timeline. August, before the beginning of senior year, is the latest you should at least start thinking about your essays. Once classes begin, life gets really busy, and it's no fun having to work on applications while doing senior coursework and then cramming a lot into those winter holidays. We want you to maximize the time you have to represent yourself in the best way possible. The ideal time to begin is actually during junior year. Not writing the essays, no, but to build the foundations that you're going to need to write them well. You might think that writing essays begins with simply, thinking about a prompt or a topic, but in fact, it starts with creating your preliminary list of target schools in our funnel system. During 11th grade, you'll also want to take campus tours and ask questions of your friends and on social media. Do your initial research. We want to make sure the school is a good fit, so it makes sense that you invest time and energy in gathering as much information as you can. You don't have to have your final target, safety, and reach schools list to begin these essays, but you should have some idea about what kinds of schools you'll be applying to. Once you've picked out some target schools, you can begin compiling their applications and making a list of the essay prompts. If you revise your schools list, just be sure to add any new deadlines and keep those in your calendar and keep track of all the things you need to know in your notes. So, be sure to take into account any early decision or early action deadlines. For instance, Princeton, University of Virginia, these are colleges that have decision deadlines of November 1st. That's early. Some schools, such as UCLA, don't offer early decision options at all. Now, applications are typically due at 11:59 p.m. on the final day. So remember, different schools are in different time zones. If you're right against a deadline, you don't want to accidentally miss out because you didn't account for a time difference. You should never let yourself get into such a tight spot. Don't wait until that day or the week before to click a submit button. If a technical glitch were to happen, it could undermine your ability to even apply. To be safe, submit 2 days before they're due. And for this reason, we strongly suggest making a checklist of those target schools and their deadlines and the prompts that they want you to answer. So, essays are going to boil down to a few simple ideas. First of all, you've got to choose the prompts. This is the what of what you're going to write. But how you're going to write it is what's going to really make or break your application. So, a story is what you're going to be telling. Imagine that I asked you to come out with me to watch a movie. You love movies, right? You might say to me, hey, well, what's it all about? And if I said, well, it's about a smart guy, would you be itching to say yes to come out? I don't think so. You might wonder, well, what's the point of that movie? It sounds stupid. But what if I said, well, it's a story about an MIT janitor who secretly is a math genius? Well, that's much more interesting. So you see, we want to understand your purpose when we read your essay. We want to learn a new truth or have a pre-existing idea about you validated in what you say. So, as you set out to answer a prompt, first of all, answer the question, what am I truly trying to say here? What one single most important thing do I really want this admissions committee to know about me after reading this story? You, as the character in your own life, deliver a theme to the reader. Give your essay a purpose. Did you solve a problem? Did you have an incredible experience? Don't just retell an event. Share why the problem or experience meant something to you. What did you learn? How did you change? That movie I was describing earlier, for those of you who didn't guess, was Good Will Hunting. The closet genius MIT math janitor, he helped make an interesting story. You know, the story of the film wasn't really about being a genius at all. Actually, quite the opposite. It was about how people need experience to grow into adulthood, not just IQ. A story thrives on specifics. Universities want to know what makes you different from everyone else who's applying, so precise details are going to help you accomplish that. Millions of people enjoy and play sports. Thousands of students win awards. Many people have hardships. So, do you make films in your spare time? Okay, but that doesn't quite paint a picture. Oh, not just films. You use phantom cameras to create slow motion film experiments to help capture the process of bee pollination? Wow. Now I really understand more about who you are. Specifics set you free. You know, it can be hard sometimes to choose the most perfect words for the job. It takes practice and multiple drafts. So pre-writing, the first stage of any writing endeavor, is really going to help you get through those rudimentary ideas on paper about a specific topic. To generate these rudimentary ideas, we suggest practicing sense memory. You remember those 5 senses that you learned about in elementary school, don't you? Sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. All these details enrich the texture and the quality of your writing. Here's something to try. Try keeping track of sensory moments throughout your day. Did the lunch in the cafeteria smell particularly appealing in a way that made you remember the first time you ate that as a kid? Did you see and touch a daisy on a walk home from school? What did this experience mean for you? Maybe you heard a busy siren on a street and that piqued your interest, or you watched a documentary that sparked your desire for adventures abroad. You get the idea. Keep those sensory moments in mind and start to create a word association map. Writing without limitation is what we're aiming for here, so allow yourself just to freely associate. You're just going to make connections based on how you felt, what you saw, what you touched, heard, smelled in any given moment in time. Practice this kind of brainstorming with some of the sensory exercises that you've picked out from your life in the past few weeks. And then you're going to be able to make the same kind of word association map for the essay prompts that you've chosen. Make the prompt itself the idea or concept in the central box, see? Like the first word association map, don't worry about organization or punctuation here. The associations you make may relate to sensory experiences that will develop into idea clusters later. And then these clusters could turn into something in one of your essays. They can really help you figure out specific experience that you're wanting to highlight when addressing prompts.